Welcome to the Rochester Sentinel webcast. I'm Bill Wilson, editor of the Sentinel. Today we're talking with Park and Street Chief Terry Wynn. A little bit about your family, wife, kids, ages.
I've married Mary Louise Bailey for 30 some odd years.
She's got you trained pretty well.
Yeah, and I got two boys, one Randy and Tim. Randy works for the city of Rochester for the water department, and Tim's a truck driver for Hopper Brothers out of Wabash, Indiana. He hauls livestock.
How long have you worked for the Rochester Street Department?
I started with the city in August 1st of 1969. Worked for the Paul Gordon at the water department for a couple years, and then Junior Clark was the superintendent at that time. He passed away, and then Mayor Holderman was the mayor, and he come to me and wanted me to take over the street. So.
How old were you when you started working for the city?
20-something.
Was it your first job out of high school?
No, no. I was. My first job was working. We worked for Wilson's Coal and Grain back in, and then I had the illustrious opportunity of serving my nation. And Uncle Sam wanted me for 2 years.
Were you in the Army?
He went in the Army in Vietnam, and was wounded in Vietnam, and come home, and got out April of '69, and started worked for Interstate Piping, which was owned by Sam McGurk, and I worked for him until I got to come on in August with Paul Gordon at the water department.
Do you mind talking a little bit about your Vietnam experience?
What do you want to know?
You were a foot soldier?
No, I was in the 11th Armored Cab Division. We had APC tracks that we went out with the infantry division, and was their kind of their backup if they got into firefights, and we were there to help them.
You're a pretty big target, though, in one of those.
Yes,
things,
we was. That's our, yeah.
Is that how you got hurt?
Yeah, we worked a lot with the Big Red One.
Wow.
And then we were with the tanks a lot, helping the tanks, and we guarded bridges and roads, stuff like that, and was out in the field with the Big Red One. And got pinned down someplace we were close by. We were sent to help them get out of their problems.
Who are you going to call, huh?
Who are you going to call, yeah.
And how did you get hurt?
Well, we was with the Big Red One coming out, and I don't remember the towns over there, but we were coming out. It was late at night, and the leader, sergeant, the lieutenant said we're going to base camp, and they were mine sweeping the road ahead of us. And we come out of this village, and I was in the last track, and they shot us. APC hit the track in front of me and bounced a piece of shrapnel back into my left eye.
Ouch.
And then the next morning we finally had a little firefight, and we got done, and we got to their base camp, and the next morning I couldn't see. It was all bloodshot, and so I reported for sick call, and they put me on a helicopter and took me back to Ben Wall at the airport, the hospital there, and when we landed at the airport, our commander-in-chief over there, Jeep was there, and our lieutenant put me in there and took me to the hospital, and the driver stayed with me seemed like all day long. Finally, he went up and asked him when I was going to be done, and he said he's not going anywhere. He's going to be admitted, and the next day I had surgery on my left eye there. Stayed there for a week, and then they flew me to Japan for 2 weeks, where they did some more surgery on my eye. And then they flew me back to the United States, and we landed out in D.C. there, and then they signed me to a hospital at Fort Gordon, Georgia, for my therapy and down there. And I'm not an airplane flyer per se, don't like the airplane business, and they shipped us out on an old Red Cross plane, and we left, got up in the air, and we had to turn her back around because one of the engines started smoking. And so we went back, and the next day they put us back up again, and we got to Norfolk, Virginia, dropped off the passenger, the people there, got back up in the air again, and something went wrong with the landing gear. It wouldn't come up, so we had to land back. It took me 3 days to get to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and finally got there and went through another series of operations there on my eye, and I was there till I got discharged in April '79 from Fort Gordon, Georgia, and I did take a bus home, but did not fly.
In '69.
'69, I got it in April.
And how was there lasting damage?
Yeah, I cannot see out of my left eye. I mean, if I look at you, if I didn't know who you two were, you're just a blur to me.
Well, he's a blur to a lot of them.
Yes, well, yeah, but you just, I can see the outline of you, but if you were standing in line, I had to pick you out as Bill Wilson. I couldn't do it.
Well, I don't think I'm out of line in saying thanks.
Yes.
Thanks on behalf of the Sentinel readers. So, you're going to retire pretty soon.
I'm thinking about retiring at the end of August.
You got plans for when you retire?
Nope.
You're going to go to Fort Gordon, Georgia?
I was down by there when I went to Florida over Thanksgiving. Seen my sign where it said turn off to Fort Gordon. And
do you have a succession plan in place? Do we know who's going to be the next?
I don't know what Mayor Smiley's got in mind.
What are the qualities needed to be a good superintendent of streets?
Be able to listen to the citizens of Rochester and try to do what you can to make them happy.
I was talking to an old grizzly cop this morning, and he said that you were always the guy out there in the middle of the night throwing sand around in the snowstorm.
Well, it can be a lot of hours, yes.
What was your initial job description when you started working for the department?
Took over just basically the run of the street department and
you came in as head.
Yes.
And you have the parks also?
Yes.
I imagine the parks might take a little bit more time than
they did back then because the golf course was just getting built, and the street department and we kind of oversaw the mowing and the watering of the golf when it first got started until they got the staff coming. I spent a lot of weekends and nights out there watering the greens and the fairways and getting that started.
How many employees did the department have then?
Oh, I think 4 or 5 with me. There, and of course we wasn't as big then. We didn't have the lake to take care of at that time. We just had the city proper to take care of it. Mm-hmm. There's 4 or 5 of us.
How many now?
We in the summertime we get up to 7. In the wintertime we keep around 5 or 6.
Do you remember what your wages were when you started?
No, I don't. No.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.